U.S. CEO Donald Trump card has forgiven ex-defect President Dick Cheney's head of personnel, who was condemned of lie on leaks to the print. Louis Libby, named as motor scooter, was found those guilty in 2007. Next, an inquiry in the unauthorized disclosing of a CIA broker's sameness. The White's building told Libby was completely decent of the forgiveness. I don't aware Mr. Libby, told Mr. Trump card, yet for year I include heard how he has been purified unjustly with hope, the complete forgiveness will assist correct a really sad proportion of his lifetime. Libby was found those guilty of false witness, obstacle of judiciary, and manufacturing erroneous statements. Next, an inquiry in a leakage house show the behalf of CIA broker Valerie Plame. His test heard how Bush authority officials requested to get behind at Ms. Plame's man, ex-envoy Joseph Wilson. Mr. Wilson had spelled a 2003 New York Times Operation ad charging Mr. Cheney of doctoring before war intellect on Iraq. Libby was loaded in lie to investigators on his contacts in reporters, but he just misremembered the succession of events. He was condemned to 30 months in jail and penalized $250,000, £175,000. But his verdict was switched by later President George W. Bush. In an interviewing on Friday in MSNBC, Ms. Plame convicted Mr. Trump card's judgment to forgiveness Libby. My private feeling is how I didn't believe my disdain for Donald Trump card could go reduce, but he surprises me every and each date, she told. He's really precise how the is a communication he is send, how you can perpetrate crimes versus domestic safety and you will be forgiven, she added. Ms. Plame has previous told her career as a CIA broker was completed in an instantaneous one day. Her sameness was leaked. He is harmless and he and his household incurred for years since of his illegal belief. I am grateful how CEO Trump card righted the incorrect. On Friday, Democrats loaded Mr. Trump card in hypocritical for pardoning a man who leaked to the print, in spite the CEO's conviction of such a disclosures in his White's building. Mr. Trump card's judgment came on the identical day how he savaged ex-FBI CEO James Comey as a tested leaker and deceiver. More Democratic Congresswoman Adam Schiff tweeted, "The is the CEO's way of send a communication to such involved in the Russia inquiry, you include my behind and I'll include your." Mr. Cheney had pressured Mr. Bush to forgiveness Libby in the definitive days of his chairmanship. But Mr. Cheney's badgering achieved the spot wherever Mr. Bush, according to reports, said his aides his defect president was start to irritate him. Following advising White's building lawyers, Mr. Bush solved it was top not to question of forgiveness. While he eventually said Mr. Cheney on his judgment, Mr. Cheney snapped at him, proverb, "Thou art outgoing a nice man injured on the box of fight." This commentary stung, Mr. Bush would compose in his memoirs. In 8 years, I had never seen Dick love the, or though shut to the. I concerned how the amity we had constructed was on to be strongly tense, at top. Libby's forgiveness amounts to formal pardon for his criminality, but does not equal to acquittal or conclusion how he was harmless. President pardons can coup ensuing consequences of a belief such as creature rejected the law to conduct out jury trial facility, voice, or run for policy office space. With the belief, Libby has already had his law license restored. An ex-Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell recovered his vote rights in 2013. The is the tertiary period Mr. Trump card has given a forgiveness. In August recent year, he did so for ex-Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who was condemned of penal disdain above his crackdown on not documentary migrant. Recent monthly he forgiven Christian Saucier, a Navy seaman who took photos of confidential areas within a U.S. sub and serviced a year in Fed jail.